Order tonight's council meeting, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Who stands for? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a roll call, please.
Terry Reed. Here. Ryan Hartley.
Here.
Ethan Maple.
Here.
Bill Niemeyer.
Here.
Chad Melinda.
Here. All right. We will look at our claims for the approval of APVs number 27393 versus through 27453. We're asking for a motion to approve those claims.
Make a motion to approve APVs 27393 through 27453.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. The motion was made by Chad, seconded by Bill. Any conversations, adjustments, questions, curiosities related to those APVs? Then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those pass. Thank you. We'll move on to the minutes from our council meeting on January 22nd. You all have received those. Would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting of January 22nd as presented in our backup materials.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Bill and seconded by Terry. Any other adjustments, curiosities, questions related to it? Then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. We have time in our agenda for public comments specifically related to any of the items that are currently on the agenda. Those agendas are available on the back table and have been communicated online. So you have that. If you have a comment to make, limited to 3 minutes, you're welcome to step to the podium, give us your name and address, and go from there. Anybody want to have any conversation related to that? Not seeing any, and not having any old business on our agenda tonight, we will go to our new business. And the first up is Commonwealth.
Town of Parks, I was unavailable tonight, next week to be filling in Commonwealth. I have a few items for approval and present today. The first I'll go over is our change order number 1 to the wastewater project. This is our value engineering change order where we collaborated with our wastewater team and the contractor to identify cost-saving measures for the project after the bid came in. So we do have a deductive change order to present tonight. The total is around $700,000 that I am requesting approval.
Okay. We received that in our materials. Do you have any questions, council, related to this change order?
And that's a 700 net, correct?
732.
My only question would be, are eliminating any of the 12 proposed items going to significantly compromise the quality of the system?
They will not. These we sat down with the wastewater operator Kyle, went over how they will impact the project. These are items that can be added in later, funds allow, will not negatively impact the ability to treat the wastewater.
Thank you.
Ethan and Ryan and I sat down with Commonwealth and went through all those, and they explained
Where you shouldn't cut and where you can. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I felt like it was a good, thorough conversation with Commonwealth. We had a lot of input from Jim and Kyle, in the process, and I think these are smart choices where we were able to save a lot of money. So I feel really good about these changes.
Good enough to make a motion?
Absolutely. I'll make a motion that we accept the change order 1 from Commonwealth.
I'll second. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chad.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the motion was made by Ryan, seconded by Chad. Any other conversation or discussion? I want to ask one question, and Zach, maybe you can help clarify, or maybe you don't need to. The question was, when it comes to some of these change orders and the signatures related to these documents, can Terry do it? Can we designate Terry to do it? Or do I have to do it?
I don't see why not.
Since I was on
Since
it.
she's been working on it and
And you were president when it
she was.
was.
And I want her, like, let's let her continue to do it.
If that's your desire, maybe make a motion, and then second and vote on that and make her signatory
Okay.
if everybody's comfortable with that.
All right. So let's handle this motion first. It's been made and seconded. Any other conversation related to it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That change order passes.
I'll make a motion for Terry to be the designated
Signator.
appointee to be the signator for the council on the wastewater project.
I'll second.
Okay.
Does that cover it? Am I good? Got it. Boom.
Terry, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'll be happy to do it. Thank you.
Fantastic. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. There you go. Congratulations.
Oh, can I take that back?
Nope. Congratulations.
It's already been, it's been approved.
Mobilization for mobilization. This is just to allow the contractor to start the clock on the construction timeline. They will mobilize the site on February 10th. So I just have one document.
Is that just something you need signed? We don't have to make any formal move. So I know exactly who will sign that.
The last item I have today is a contract amendment for Commonwealth's amendment contract. This is a $0 net change. This is the reallocation of funds from our design phase that weren't fully used, including the solar design performed. This was not something that we ended up bringing into construction due to cost reasons, and council brought it to our attention saying, don't feel like pay for the solar design being incurred. We agree, so we nullified that amount. So this $0 amendment will reallocate some of those funds to pay for a contract extension for our construction engineering and the on-site inspector. $0 change. In addition, the document I provided includes Flying Peters agreement. We are recommending that you guys have a independent contract with them, so it doesn't go through us. From us. So those documents were sent out to your team yesterday. If you'd like some additional comment on it, we don't have to have it approved tonight.
We didn't get those.
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it on.
I got it.
Terry got it?
Terry got it.
Good, Terry.
Okay.
Okay, if your team would like more time, we can
Well,
resend it.
Do we need more time, or Terry, what's your opinion?
Jim, you got it too, didn't you?
I don't, did Thomas send it or?
I would like
Yeah.
more time so we can.
Yeah, I think we need more time for more.
I can add it to the next agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meg.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you very much. All right. Next on the agenda is a memorandum of understanding. Chief, you're going to fill us in on this?
Sure. So all of our radios used to be owned by the town, and we've upgraded over the years to the 800 system. The county has been generous enough to basically purchase the radios that we're currently using in our cars and on our person. So kind of what happened was they purchased them, we've been using them for quite a while now, but they never had anything in place, so we kind of like to get a rental agreement in play, kind of like a rental car, you know, we have a car in it, but we don't have insurance on it. We insure all of our radios, but they're just kind of asking for a document that says that we will be responsible to bring, we'll be responsible for two things. But they do all the upfront purchases, and that way they have control of how the radios are programmed, who's got what radio. We've been doing this for quite a while. We just never had an MOU in place. And I think the county council and the commissioners have kind of asked, hey, we probably need to put this in place. I sent this off to Ted. Ted looked it over, said it looks great. So I don't see anything we're going to have any kind of issues with. It's just more of a understanding that we're going to be responsible for radio breaks. We're going to fix
And there's nothing in that that we aren't currently doing.
everything.
Does this need a motion of approval?
Yeah.
Then we would welcome a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
I will make a motion to approve the the MOU as presented.
I'll second.
The motion was made by Chad, seconded by Ryan. Any other questions for Chief or?
So when I read through it, there's nothing in there. Like, we don't start charging. All they're saying is, you got this insured, right?
Yep. That's it. And we've
And,
already,
and we have to prove our insurance, but we already have it. So we're just going to say, hey, here's our insurance on
yeah,
this.
they've got our insurance on file already. We did that earlier on. They just want something on papers, and then we agreed to continue the maintenance of the radio.
It was added and scheduled, on the insurance at a cost of $60 for the rest of this, this insurance. No, through February the 20th, when the insurance ends, and it will be in the next.
The other thing I saw on it, maintain, there's like a PM schedule for it. I'm sure that's not intensive. Preventative maintenance or anything like
Matter of
that.
fact, they've already got a system set up in my office where they get upgraded. We just have to walk in the office, give it about 5 minutes, and it does.
Okay.
So John Johannes is a very smart individual, and that's why I'm okay with us taking care of this. He's taken care of it for about the last 4 months.
Yep. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to check on that. Those are the two that. So,
And-
thank you.
and Bob, the exhibit A wasn't attached, but you're comfortable with the list of equipment? Okay, perfect.
All we have car radios and then the actual person. So there's nothing like big station radio.
Any other questions? Then we'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving the memorandum of understanding, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is the property transfer from New Palestine High School, and this specifically has to do with about a half acre of land that we need for our sewer plant rebuild. And conversations with the schools, they recognize this being a community project serving the greater good. They're willing to transfer and sell that property to the town for $1, which we really do appreciate. We'll certainly pay for all of the fees associated with that. I know we're working on a survey, getting that taken care of, making sure it's all taken care of. In your backup material, you received a resolution and a purchase agreement that had to have some slight adjustments to it from the resolution standpoint. We had to adjust that today to match the school's resolution. Both entities need to approve like resolutions when we transfer this between the school and the town. And so it's just language that needed to be cleaned up with the New Pal School Corporation, new name, identity, things like that. But those resolutions do match now. And then there was a slight change that needed to be made to the purchase agreement, just a line in terms of who's responsible for some fees. And of course we are. But other than that, that's about it. Jim, do you have any update or anything to add to that land
No,
transfer?
As soon as, Bill, do you need a description?
Need the legal
Okay,
description.
we're waiting on the survey to get the description, and then we'll get it recorded, so.
Okay. So basically what we would be approving is the resolution. which references the purchase agreement. And when that purchase agreement gets finally finalized, we're approving the signature of that we can sign that as a council and move forward. They will be, I think their meeting is next week, and we'll be taking up this similar resolution next week. So we'd be looking for a motion to approve the resolution related to the transfer of property from New Palestine Community Schools to the town of New Palestine.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to authorize a transfer from New Palestine High School to the town of New Palestine.
I will second that motion.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Just a comment. Appreciate the school working with us on this. To transfer for $1 really shows that they're invested in the town's agenda, and we're invested in their agenda. So I really appreciate the work that both sides have put into that.
Absolutely.
I echo those sentiments.
It's fun to work together. It's fun to work together. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution passes.
I have a question, and maybe we can ask Zach. Would it be helpful for us to make a motion to designate or authorize Chad so that to sign the purchase agreement or anything else so that Chad, Ethan, Ryan, Terry, whoever.
Ethan's on it.
the way Bill's working here.
We approved it. Ethan's on it. I think that's where we'll, right?
I'm happy to sign it. I can sign it again when it gets finished.
Okay, but do we need a motion so that there's authority? Perfect. Sign it.
I'll sign
You can
it.
sign.
Thank you.
His name.
All right.
Nice try.
The resolution has been approved, so we're very happy and appreciative of the town or of the schools and the partnership there. Last council meeting, I told you I think it's important for us to have conversation around some of the things that are important around town, keep them on the agenda, keep them in front of us. Last council meeting, there were 2 items that we kind of had some conversation on. These are items that we wouldn't necessarily need to make a motion or have a pending ordinance or resolution on, but it's a reality that there are things going on in this town that deserve our conversation and our work around it, and things that we want to keep in front of us. Those 2 items fall under this new section on our agenda called Continued Council Conversation, and we'll continue to add to that as items come up that we think are important to have conversation around in this meeting setting. And so the council staggered terms came up last time, and Ryan sent just kind of some emails around, hey, this is the House bill that's in front of us. I think Jenny sent us the ordinances that have been passed, had some conversation with the town lawyer. Regardless of what the state does and the work that they do this session, we can't take it up until next year anyway, because it can't be addressed until the year before the election takes place. So that'll be something that we keep in front of us, so that regardless of what happens with the state session, we'll want, if we choose to go in that direction and stagger the election for the council, we'll want to make an ordinance that takes care of all the other ordinances next year at some point as we move forward.
So would that ordinance supersede the old ordinances, but say, basically we would create some process, I think in the ordinance that we were sent, whoever the lowest 2 votes were, so we would say going into the next one, 5 people get elected, the lowest 2 have a 2-year term, the next have a 4-year term, and then
From
the
there on,
cycle
it's
starts.
staggered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
The current, I guess the current ebb and flow of that is our elections are on the 3rd year of the cycle. There's a House bill looking at moving those to the 4th year or the 2nd and 4th year. So if the House bill passes and that continues to be, those elections would end up being 2-4, but right now they would be 1-3 in terms of the years.
Quick question, and I know this is not a big deal, but we have to pay if we're in an election, correct?
Yep.
Is that dependent on how many, or is it a play, no play?
You pay an amount based on the number of people that came to vote relative to the number of people in the county, if I understand. It's a formula.
Yeah.
We simply
Basically,
get a bill.
we'd
But you
just,
pay-
we're gonna
you pay.
double our, yeah, okay.
And do you have any guess approximate, just a ballpark what that is?
I have it, I remember
I
looking
think
at
it's
it, but I
$4,000 or
don't.
$5,000.
Yeah, it's,
Couple thousand.
I think-
Provided that other people in the county are also having an election. That was also part of it.
Yeah.
And it's based on how many people vote?
That's my recollection.
That's part of the equation?
But you're kind of putting me
You
on the
pay
spot
more
here,
for
so
more
if
or
you want
less?
to know exact
I'd assume.
information.
what I
I'll
was
give it.
basically lining up is which election has the most voter turnout?
Yeah.
1-3 or 2-4,
2-4.
which is where we want to be, right?
We want to be in
Because-
the less one, don't we?
No,
No, because
You wanna be in the more one?
We would share a smaller cost because it would be a
Oh.
larger cost to send.
Really, what you want is you want to be in the election where people pay attention to who they're voting for. If you're gonna be.
What are you trying to
in
say?
the
That's a small
election
What are you trying to say, Bob?
time, You know. I'm
But
trying to
again, this
say-
isn't going to change the balance sheet.
How do you think we all got in
I
here?
got us on.
Nobody paid attention.
I got us on a tangent. This is what happens with council conversation. This is going to happen.
That's fine. I'm good with
Okay,
this.
all right.
I'm good with this.
Well, whatever the cost is, it certainly is beneficial, especially, in the beginning, make the change, stagger the terms so that you don't have a situation where the entire council is replaced.
and the treasurer.
Well, the clerk treasurer can never change.
Oh,
Can we make it ordinance?
Probably a little unconstitutional.
I can go along with that, but I appreciate the thought.
Any other thoughts related to that? I think it's an issue that we all want to kind of take up, and next year would be the best time to do
I'll
so.
say I'm for this.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we're looking at all.
I agree. We also talked about employee reviews and kind of being intentional about that. I appreciate Jim and Bob sending us kind of the ways, kind of a matrix that you're using and the ways that you're doing that currently. And you also sent us some job descriptions, Jim, so I appreciate that as well. As we move forward, do you currently have kind of an ebb and flow? I know, Chief, you said you do. Jim, do we have for other town employees? Do we do it at a certain time? Do you do it at an annual review? Do you have any?
We haven't, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
It,
And I think probably prior to the budgetary talks in June or July, that would be a great time to have it. That way when we're there with a few council, we can have that discussion. We'll have those reviews in front of us, and I think that would be the best time.
I would say one thing we do, we constantly, I would say review, because I feel like we have daily meetings, we have weekly, we have trainings every month. So we kind of hit on it all the time, because I hate waiting 6 months to go back and fix something that happened at the
Right.
first month. So that's kind of where we are at with it. We do fill out a sheet. I think any corrections that we need to do have to go before that sheet's filled out. I think that sheet was asked to be done by prior council, but it's up to you again still. That's something we stay doing. Don't take it the strong way, but sometimes to me it feels like it's punitive when you do an HR review, because HR's kind of moved on. They don't do this as much as they used to. I feel like in my position, it's better for me to get to talk to my officers, to find out what's going on. And if they need for something from me, they have that option, then they're not 6 months later. So that's my thought on it, but I still do fill out paperwork, just so we have it.
I'm a fan of it for the sheer fact of it at least sets a feedback mechanism, whether it's done well. That's debatable, right? And I think it'll take time to get it to do well, but it should serve two purposes. A, to give you goals, feedback on how to get better. B, if somebody's not meeting expectations, it starts a paper trail that we know can turn into a long process,
Sure.
right?
And that does occur now. So if we do have issues, a paper trail has already started and put in file.
Correct.
Maybe not in that.
Yeah.
All the time, but yes.
Which makes sense. I think it sets up hey, we talked about this and you've got to write up and it hasn't changed. Like, at what point does this get better? Not that I see that that's going to be a thing that we need, but it's a good practice to get in.
And
Just,
I
yeah. I also think there's a second piece of this. We habitually, well, last year, I can't speak before that, but we set kind of blanket pay raises. And I think for a merit increase, being able to tie that to performance and being able to say like, hey, here are the things. It's a chance for them to say, hey, here are the things that I did and the reason that I think I went above and beyond, or I met the expectations, or I had missed the expectations, right? I think it helps when we go to do that review. There are times where, you know, all of us in our past lives, I mean, I was in the military, so it's not like the review really did much for the pay, but everybody's going to get a 2% raise. Well, why am I working twice as hard as Bill? You know what I mean? So I think that kind of helps us in some of the positions. Some of them are set, and that is what it is. But I think it starts to provide a conversation around this is why you rate this, or this is why you did get the average.
And I have to ask, I guess for us, on the 77 police pension fund, there's a first class pension salary everybody's based on. So how does that adjustment?
These are good questions that we're going to have to figure out.
I don't think that you can,
I mean, maybe the fire department, you know, you work for quite a bit too, maybe it's something, do you give, is it across the board pension, like for a first class firefighter as well, or are you able to give that, this guy worked a lot harder than that guy did, so how does, is it across the board?
yeah, you can't do it individually. You set a first class officer rate, and pension is based on that. And it is an across the board number.
That's what my hands are tied to.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think-
It's
Kind of
challenging.
military,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said some.
And I think the benefit is communication. I think is accountability. It's making sure that, you know, we're all doing our very best to encourage our town employees. It isn't meant to be punitive. It's meant to be communicative. So how do we set systems in place to encourage and communicate so that we're all on the same page and holding one another accountable, but also encouraging one another in the ways that we can. So for me, there's a couple layers to it. There's our department heads, and I think that for our department heads, you know, the council has a responsibility to have those regular conversations with our department heads, and an annual review or an annual conversation specific to that, I think is important. I for one I trust our department heads to do the reviews, and they can certainly share those reviews with the council at their reviews or at some particular time. So I think we like to know what systems you use for those reviews and those evaluations, and maybe we have input on those. But I don't feel like, Jim, I don't feel like council has to sit in on your reviews. What do you guys think for our town employees? Do you have an opinion on that?
I think it'd be nice for the review and provide feedback, but I see no reason to sit in on it. So, in my opinion, I think it's between you guys and your team to work that out.
Your role is different, and it's not to be a direct supervisor.
Right.
We need to let the department heads be department heads.
Yeah. And so I would be interested in helping figure out how do we create systems and processes for our department heads to create evaluations and conversations, and then let you all live into those, and you can update us as necessary, and certainly at the department things. What I'm curious if Chad would be willing to kind of review some of the current things that we have going on and make suggestions for maybe some best practices associated with those.
For sure. Yeah, I think the part that I think we play for your guys' teams is like if you want us like feedback on like, hey, what do you think? You know, should this change or whatever? I think that's where I want to make sure that I'm sure everybody up here would say like, if you wanted that support or help, like we want to. You guys have been doing this for a hot minute. It's not like this is gonna be.
And we do utilize it. That's one thing we do. So in the past, we've had situations where we've come to our council and said, here's what we've got, here's what we haven't. So we will lean on, there's no doubt about it.
Right, but at the same token, understand that nobody on the council wants to micromanage. You guys do a fantastic job. We just want to help where we can.
Yeah. My hope is just that we can sit up here knowing that the systems are in place, and you guys are doing the systems that need to be done for the good of the town. Any other just thoughts on that for this week?
Appreciate you guys sending that out. All that.
Anything else conversation wise that, you know, just want? have a hankering to talk about. All right, that was fun. What about legal updates? Zach, what do you got for us?
Yeah, as you addressed, Ted is working through the staggered election issue, still going through that. And then I've been working with Jim on a allocation area, development of an allocation area and an economic development plan for the RDC. And I don't know if Jim might be able to speak a little bit more about that, but that's it.
Okay.
He told Ted that the staggered election, you've got a short timeline, you know. You got a whole year, so you don't want to get.
It probably take longer than what we think too, right?
All right. Department reports. Jim, anything to?
I just got one thing for Ryan. The bridge, how are we on the timeline on the bridge? I have the schedule in my office.
Yeah, so I talked to Trey earlier this week. He talked to Giselle from CSX, and she expects everything to be back in. All the paperwork that needs to be filed is internal. She expects that to be done within the next 2 weeks. I anticipate being on the bridge sometime within the next 2 to 4 weeks. Really, I'm hoping to be up there by the end of February. According to Giselle from CSX, there shouldn't be any issue there. So as soon as I get a date that we're going to get the materials delivered, excavator delivered, all that stuff, I'll let you know, and the town can put it on their website. But I expect by the end of February.
There'll be a hard close there for how long?
There will. We're going to give them about 45 days, weather depending. Cue the train.
Right. They get in the
About
way.
45 days to do the repairs. If the asphalt plants aren't open then, we'll open the bridge up. Everybody can drive across the bridge as normal. We'll close it again when the asphalt plant's up. We'll put the HMA back over it. So
That process would be
a day,
Yeah.
2 at the most. We'll put new waterproofing membrane down and new HMA. But repairs first. Let's get to that point. Stoplights will go away. Herd closure again for up to 45 days. Repairs and then HMA. So keep your fingers crossed. We're up there by the end of February. I know we've had a little trouble with the signals. We've worked through that. Thank you, Bob, and everybody for being patient with us. So I know we burn up one of the town's generators. The county has bought a new generator. When we're
I
done
didn't tell him.
when we're done using it, we are going to give that to the town and replace the generator we burn up. So, but that being said, yeah, that's good. Now, positive news by the end of February.
Good.
Some other news: Bridge 85 on 400 South between 4 West and 450 West. I have a start date on that of December 1st of this year. So, utility relocation should be happening anytime from now until into April, 1st of May. And then we will close that bridge December 1st, as of right now, December 1st, for about 4 months to replace that bridge.
And Steinmeier, is that 25 or is that 26?
That's next year.
Okay,
Yep. So the Steinmeier Road extension will be built next year
okay.
with the roundabout at Steinmeier and in front of the school.
Yeah.
So
The only other thing we're working on, if you've seen the paper this week, there were some vacant houses throughout the county that have been condemned. They're going to tear them down. We're working with the one there at 600 West and 52. And I'm talking with the attorneys, but today I was trespassed on all this property. So it's just going to add another little layer to that process, but we'll get through it. So we'll work with the attorneys and the courts, and maybe even Yvonne had a guest come in, and it was another inspector from,
He inspects in Trafalgar and
Yeah.
Shelby County.
and he'll do a one-off, and it might be better for the town to have a little separation there, that it's a transparent third party. So, because right now everything's pointing at us, so.
Right.
It did. Yes, so that's it.
All right. Anything else, Jim?
That's it. Thank you.
I don't think Steve was able to be with us this evening. So, Bob?
So, been kind of working with Jenny is doing it. I'm kind of starting to do it. It's some of our kind of ordinances, some of our like parking or section 4 needs a lot of revamping. We got some really old ordinances, so I'm taking upon myself to kind of look over the traffic codes, look at things, and see about making some changes. Some of our stuff's 25 years old, if not older. And some of the stuff we don't do anymore. Some of the stuff's not even, like, my reserve don't have to have training. Well, that's not true. State aid, you have to have training. So we definitely need to revamp that, make sure we rewrote in a proper way. So we could maybe reach out to Ted to see, make sure that everything we're looking at is definitely up to par. So want to get time, I've been working on that as well. So right now we're keeping going and working on the ordinance.
Horse buggies.
Yes, I'm supposed to bicycle police too.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Sidewalks.
supposed to inspect them.
I'd like nothing more to see you riding a bike around.
I'm gonna buy a Huffy off Marketplace and paint that thing.
Great.
I have Bob, I have a Green Regions Bank bicycle that the police department can use, and it has a little bell.
Oh, I get better.
Siren. I like it.
I can take
Anything else? Good. Yvonne?
Working on the end of the year, almost there to close the end of the year at all for 2024, both in the accounting program and in the gateway, so that everything's there for the state and anybody interested in looking at that. I've already uploaded everything. It's a matter of literally submitting my closing tomorrow. So we're doing good there. That's about all I've got for you. I won't be here at the next meeting. Jenny will be in charge for almost 2 weeks. So don't overload her, please. But that's it.
All right. Any questions for Yvonne? Thank you. We do have time in our agenda that we create for public comments on any topic. We do limit that to 5 minutes. When you speak, we ask that you come to the podium, show your name and address for the record, and go from there. So does anybody have anything they'd like to address this evening to the council? Yeah.
My name is Jeffrey Lewis. I reside at 30 East North Street, Palestine, Indiana.
Okay.
I am here in regards to Ordinance 5006, restraint with animals. I'm being asked by Animal Control Greenfield and the town of New Palestine to relocate all 26 of my reptiles in disregard to that ordinance. I'm here to state that that does not specify any species that I own. All of my species that I own are legal to own in Indiana without a permit. It clearly defines snakes and dangerous reptiles separately in the next sentence. I'm just asking if you can specify or more thoroughly check over that before I have to repair my animals.
In which sentence? In the sentence of our ordinance or the sentence in a state law?
5006 and the New Town Ordinance.
Okay.
So section G in regards to dangerous reptiles.
I'm trying to think how quickly I can access that and the best place to access it.
Go to our town page.
All right. Is it okay if we look at it? If we can get it up here and make sure that we're seeing what we need
Council,
to.
I asked Mr. Booth to come in today because this is another one of those ordinances that's probably 25 years old.
It was passed 12/17/1999.
So I encourage him to come in and talk to you about this, because again, this was information we got received from animal management and contacted our front office. So they contacted the police department and we issued an ordinance violation per the town ordinance of 50.06. So that's why Mr. Lewis is here, and I appreciate you coming in.
And I know you're looking for the ordinance, and I just don't know if it specifies what is a dangerous reptile versus a non-dangerous reptile.
To find the ordinance, you can look at the letter that I emailed, because I copied the letter that Bob had.
Does that
and
cover the whole ordinance?
Ordinance is in that letter, if that's easier to find.
Well, I believe it's subsection G is what they're referring to. It mentions exotic animals and birds of prey. And by definition, I believe exotic is anything that's not native to the area. So I believe that's probably what they're referring to.
So am I being asked to remove all animals on the property?
What do you have?
I have Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, ball pythons, king snakes, bearded dragons, tegus, an alligator, 2 Asian water monitors, 3 dogs.
I think the dogs are.
Well, now wait, are those native dogs? We need to know what kind of dogs. Well, and I apologize. I don't mean to be making light of it, but this certainly sounds like an example of an ordinance that might have had more application in 1969 or 79 or 99 or whenever it was passed, but might need to be updated just to be more in line with what is the current situation.
Well, I would probably go as far as to say we had a long discussion, heated debate over the chicken ordinance, if you remember that one. And
Nope.
Generally, when we applied the chicken ordinance, it was something that the town would make sure if they applied a permit to it, then they would go out and make sure that, they were kept, they had cages and things like that. So if we do look at our ordinance, maybe that's something we could, if that's.
Permit.
Yeah, and I
Not saying-
definitely, I remember the chicken ordinance,
Yeah.
but that was also a lot of consideration with it is because chickens are something that are housed outdoors.
Yeah.
And you can get a lot of noise, you can get a lot of odors, you can get a lot of unintended consequences where it sounds like most of these things, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that these are animals that reside inside the house as opposed to running around the yard. Yeah,
I will
so,
say my only concern is we didn't have one get out, correct?
Yeah, that was, I think, my 9th snake. I had a cheap enclosure with the top opening lid that did not lock. That snake ended up escaping. That is why the animal control was called. And since then, I've updated all my enclosures and put locks on everything because that was a $1,400 snake that only affected me. But I lost that. So,
Where's that snake
Did you
at?
find it?
an officer found it and relocated it to a creek where it died.
It was found over in Cypress Creek, the back patio. And again, here's my concern. I know you're being careful, but the same house that this is located at, the 2-year-old and the 3-year-old, their baby sat there. So 9 foot, 10 foot, 6, I don't know how big that snake was.
That's big.
No.
No.
It was a juvenile though. I have pictures from when I got
Well,
one.
the one they recovered was a monster, so it's probably been 8 foot.
Well, that was not
But
my
there's
snake.
been, I mean, there's been,
Bo
there was
was,
another snake a few years ago that was before
Well,
he
this
got
is definitely like a golden chicken.
yeah,
I mean, it was this big around, it was a monster.
that doesn't sound like it was your snake. then.
my snake was a 6-month boa, which should be less than a foot long.
And how big do they get?
They can get up to 8 foot, but that's at about 10 years old.
And then what happens when they get that?
Like, I mean, they just kind of stop. They grow about an
You
inch every
see,
year.
so it's not like you have a couple dogs, you have
Yeah.
multiple. I think we actually have something in our ordinance about only having so many animals for dogs, before you actually have to have a permit to be considered.
Well, you are breeding these too, correct?
It becomes a
So we
business.
do have ordinances
They're not
against
selling.
No,
breeding
no, I
animals.
just kind of trade for other animals.
Okay, so don't sell them.
Gotcha. Everything that I've done is completely legal and non-permit necessary through the state of Indiana.
Then your alligator, once he gets over 5 feet, you gotta.
Yeah, so he's just shy of he's about 3 feet 11 inches right now. Once he hits 5 foot, I just have to apply for the permit through DNR, and then they inspect my enclosure.
How often do they do that?
That is a yearly checkup.
Council, it's up to you.
Do you have a business around this?
No, I have a business name just to kind of spread my word, spread everything, and I want to do educational shows, but I don't have an LLC or anything yet.
So you don't have any registered business associated with these reptiles. And how many did you say you have? That would
26.
and the 26 doesn't include the dogs.
That's 29.
I think the thing we're gonna get into debating here is dangerous, able, or apt to harm, right? So are any of them venomous
I
or?
have nothing to do with this.
So what you're asking is, do you have to get rid of your,
I was given a 12-day issue to get rid of them.
and I'm one on the council. So I guess one of the things that I would be willing to consider is an extension of that while the council has opportunity to review the ordinance and decide if we want to rewrite it or keep it as it is and change it. And so I don't feel comfortable saying, yeah, keep your things and we'll just throw out the ordinance. If we have an ordinance, I think it's our responsibility as council to follow that ordinance until that ordinance changed. So it's not changed. So based on the ordinance, you're still in violation. But you've been issued a letter, you've been given a date. I think the council, can extend that while we take the appropriate time to process it. I don't know if Zach
Can I
has an
ask?
input.
Can I ask who gave you the 12-day notice? Police department. Okay.
They called me.
Because the code defines it lays out the process for if you're in violation of 50.06, and it gives official warning as a notice of official warning first, and then fines $100 under that'd be 50.10.
Is that per animal?
It does not
Dude.
define per animal, but
Well, I mean, one thing that I'll mention, it sounds like Chief Ely's had some conversations with you. You received the letter, maybe some notices or phone calls from other agencies. But, we issue ordinance violation letters, send notices, many of which are just completely ignored. Multiple notices, then we end up in a court action, whether it's for fines or enforcements. So just the fact that you are completely and immediately responsive, you're here, I think is a positive sign. So, I personally, I like Ethan's suggestion of, maybe we need to, as a council, look at the ordinance. Technically, maybe you're in violation of it to some extent, but if we can have some time that we address the ordinance, and then that would, address your situation one way or the other. I like that thought as opposed to just, well, now you're down to 11 days.
I'd like to review the ordinance and have a discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
So if they could extend.
We can extend it, yeah, we just put a date on there for them, so if you guys want to extend it, we won't act on anything until we hear back from council. That's kind of what we talked about, we wanted to come to you to see what your thoughts.
What about 50.10 enforcement of subchapter, the animal control officer or authorized personnel? So does the animal control, when they,
So animal control kind of comes out and assists us with like dogs, animals, they will take care of the removal. So if we decided to move forward as council and say, hey, this is going to happen, if you refuse, an animal control would be the actual department that would come out and do the removal of the animals.
What other entity contacted you?
Greenfield Animal Control.
Okay, but so they're not going to issue any ultimatum?
Said I'll be issued a warning, which I got the next day, and then that said, obviously thought through, I'm getting fined, and then further action.
And this wasn't something that we went, got to his house and found that. Hey, he had posted something on social media. I think that's how they found it. So it wasn't like.
Social get you.
Yeah, it does. And like you said, there's probably 100 other people in the community that probably has some kind of snake or rat or something. But he just by chance put it on social media, animal control witnessed it, saw it, sent it off to our offices over here. And so we're following up for our work.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the conversation. I mean, we're not in the business of just, wiping your animals and pets out, but I think it's worth our conversation to figure out what the best option is. Council, do you feel like I don't want to leave it open-ended. Like, I don't feel good about that. I would rather just give you kind of a 60-day type of thing that gives us time to process, think through, and and look at ordinance. It takes us a minute if we have to rewrite an ordinance. So that may be a long time to think through it. But one thing I found out over the first year of this is this thing doesn't move quickly, government. So
I also don't see this being a food truck ordinance situation. I think that we can make, I think we can make a decision in this situation, so.
I think that's fine. I think though we have to have a conversation. We have to write the ordinance. We have to approve the ordinance. And so you're looking at least 2 or 3 meetings.
Yeah.
How many animals do you anticipate having?
I've had over 116 in the past 2 years.
116.
At one time?
Okay. How many do you expect to have? What are you growing to?
I want to open up my own zoo, petting zoo and breeding facility.
Where would this be located?
I'm looking for Greenville population.
So I will tell you, if you look at the county's ordinances, theirs are very lax compared to town ordinances or city ordinances. So I would encourage you to,
It's giving you the keys to the castle.
I would encourage you to look for property that's not so heavily ordinanced. So
Can you get some lemurs? My son's really into those. Throw a couple in there. Yeah, I think that giving us time and extending that, Chief, if you're aligned, and the rest of the council's aligned, would be something that then we can do some research and figure out. To Ethan's point, I think we should put a line in the sand so that we know we have to address this. I don't know if everybody feels comfortable being able to talk through this at the next town council meeting, but then should we issue or extend this 60 days so that we don't, 60 days so we don't run into an issue running out of time next time?
I would offer a date of April 15th. It's a little more than 60 days, but
Tax day?
fine.
Bob, what's your opinion?
16th.
I'm good with the extension. I think it needs to be looked
But
over.
as far as a time frame.
We're open. Read, there's something that come across our desk and we're just trying to take care of. So we're extend it 60, 90, 30 days, whatever you want to do.
Can you commit to make sure they're not going to get out?
Yeah.
All right. I'm comfortable with 60 days, April 15th-ish. Makes sense.
I live pretty close to you.
Listen, I'm not a fan of snakes, but he is. I get that. I'm just keep them locked up, okay? Because I'll scream and run.
I have pictures of all the animals in the enclosure sent to you guys. Really sounds so good.
Yeah.
I think we actually sent them your picture you had on.
That's not on
He
the.
has completely updated everything.
I have pictures of every.
If you stick around to the after the meeting, I do want to see them. But 2 things. One, can we issue him another letter that has that date on it, the 15th of April, so that that's in our records?
15th April.
All right. And you feel like that's fair enough at this point?
I would say note on that unless there's any further issues in between now and then that we could
If they
take
end up
action
if they end up in Terry's yard,
Or mine, where Nick went, thank you very much.
include all the addresses that they can't be on. But no, seriously, I think that's fair. I think if there's any issues with the animals between now and then, we'll have to enforce the ordinance immediately. The other thing that I would ask, just from my perspective, is since we're going to be talking about the ordinance, show me what you got. If you'll give me your number after the meeting and let me come in, I'd love to just see what you got going on, as long as everything's in the cages.
The other thing that I'd recommend is, on our website, we try as absolute hard as we can to make sure that the agenda's out there. So, we meet the first and the third Wednesday of every month. Keep an eye on the agendas as well, because as we discuss the ordinance moving forward, none of us have snakes or ostriches or whatever could be included as a dangerous exotic.
Ostriches?
Yeah.
Other way.
They're, yeah. Oh, mean. So having input would help us as well. So, and I certainly welcome your thoughts as we try to work through an ordinance that makes sense.
It'll be on our next agenda. So on the 19th, we'll have some comment. We may not make definitive decisions but we will discuss it on the 19th.
can I ask a question? Are there any animals that you have to have an exotic permit through DNR?
Only for venomous snakes, and then once my alligator or any crocodile hits 5 foot or more.
Okay.
How soon will that happen?
About another year and 2 months.
Who are you? So you're vouching for these animals?
Anything that he owns is classified the way it is in Indiana because here it will die outside. It will not survive. The cold will kill every snake he has, every lizard he has. It will die in winter here. Now, if you take that to Florida, like the Permians down there, I mean, it's wiping out everything because they thrive. I mean, they're killing everything. They're wiping out the ability. They're killing everything.
This is why I live here.
Anything he has by the state standards completely different. And I was just curious earlier today because I was helping him prepare himself because the amount of attacks that happen from animals that he has is in the United States. Not a single one other than gators because people are not smart and stick their hands in their mouth. But
I love our town, but there's some not smart people in our
I
town.
agree. But I mean, the only thing he has that the Indiana deems dangerous is the alligator, but they have things in place to prevent people from mowing those at a size that will kill you. Yeah, we're gonna be your bike shark, only make sure, but it won't kill you. If it's any bigger than 5 feet, it will hurt you. I've kept reptiles, I'm 31, I've kept reptiles since I was 3 years old. And I had never been harmed by one of my reptiles. And I've kept some really dangerous stuff that I have right now, 18 foot, particularly python, that I can wrap around my neck and
You don't live close.
I can wrap around my neck.
Just clarifying.
I have 6-foot lizards that eat whole chicken.
Okay. All right.
I take my kids' schools
Don't
and
come back.
kids.
Well, I think part of our concern is that one of these gets out.
Oh, 100%, I understand that completely. Because people don't,
You know,
That's why I-
right now, you know how to handle them, you know how to deal with them, but that 2-year-old kid goes up playing.
oh,
with
I
them.
understand that completely.
You see what I'm saying? That's a big concern right now. That's kind of why you're here tonight. 26 animals, and they're always changing, it sounds like.
And there's one of you.
It only takes one, and then you are just as much trouble for having that snake or that alligator that hurt or took somebody out. So there's concerns for both sides here.
What I'll say is I understand the comment statement. I spent a large majority of my life around guns. That doesn't mean that everybody can operate one safely, right? So, like, the point is like it could go bad, right? And again, that's what we have to make sure that we're doing. We heard earlier today somewhere around 3,100 people live in the town, right? So we have to make a decision that's best for them. Understand your passion, love it. Like, love that you're doing that. You're doing it the right way, right? We just need to make sure that we're following the same process, do everything the right way.
What happens to that alligator in a year and 2 months when it's 5 feet?
I was planning on getting permit for him to keep him.
And you have to build an enclosure and DNR has
He's
to
already
inspect
in
it.
the DNR regulated with the spec and instructions.
Basically, he has to get licensed and then they inspect annually.
I just applied for the permit, they come out, inspect the enclosure, give me the check mark.
I'm a little familiar with this because my oldest daughter worked for Silly Safari for quite a while. So I've been there and been seeing their process and what they go through on all this. And oh, they have way more than reindeer. But yeah, I'm a little familiar with the background on this stuff. Still don't like them, but I know about them. We'll work on this.
Yeah. Jeffrey, I appreciate you coming in, and as Bill said, that makes a big difference when you get issued something, come in and speak on your own behalf. I appreciate that, and we'll have it on the agenda on the 19th to look at our ordinance and see what we believe is in the best interest of the town moving forward.
Do we need to do anything?
You're all good.
Appreciate you coming in.
We'll work on it.
Thank you.
Anything else from public comments? All right, council comments. Ryan?
Appreciate you guys coming in and informing us and let you know we'll work with you moving forward. I think I've Shared everything else about the bridge work and road work that I know as of right now. I have nothing else.
Okay. We have a council chat Friday, and so that'll be at Tia's Friday at 8 in the morning. We'll get that graphic out there so we can make sure we communicate that. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I'll make sure I get that to you tomorrow
If
morning.
you get it to me tonight, I can put it out there. Yeah. I'm not working tomorrow, so you can get it.
Okay.
to me.
Like you're working tonight, buddy.
Yes, ma'am.
Just text me when you send it, because I won't check my emails.
Okay. All right. We'll get that graphic out there. Other than that, the really the only thing I wanted to do was formally recognize and appreciate Terry Reed's service as president last year. Doing all the things and signing all the things is not easy, and you get to have the gavel. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you a gavel in recognition of your year of presidency. You're welcome, Dave. So this is Terry's gavel, and just a way to recognize your year sitting as president of the Town Council. So thank you for sitting in that seat. We appreciate that.
Don't want to ask where you were hiding.
Thank you so
It
much.
was right here. Right here. You're not allowed to bring it to meetings. That's all I have. Chad, do you have anything?
Just real quick, there's been a lot of work on ordinances and resolutions, and due to somebody's nice work, I quickly found the ordinance here by going to our New Palestine website, clicking on the government tab, ordinances, and then there's view ordinance and resolutions, and then there's a search bar. You can type in something, and if you type in 50.06, it pulled up exactly what I needed, and it took me 30 seconds. So that's to everybody, and it's on the record. That is on our website. You can find all of those. So that's a
Thanks
little
to Jenny.
information there. Thank you for cleaning those up. I know it's a very easy
It's a lot
task.
more to
and-
do, so.
yeah, it's not hard at all.
No.
I again echo the appreciation for the school and the transfer of property, and then all the things that we're doing there. Excited that we're going to get started on this wastewater treatment plant. I know it's not always the most popular conversation, but it's one that will facilitate a lot of things that we saw in the Plan Commission earlier, and the future growth and controlled growth of New Palestine. So thanks everybody for bearing with us through that process. That's all I have.
Bill?
I too want to thank the New Palestine Community Schools for working with the town on the land that we need for the wastewater treatment plant. It certainly shows, a cooperation that hasn't always been there previously, and certainly acknowledge it and appreciate it. So just wanted to say thanks for that. That's all I have.
Ms. Reed?
I want to thank Megan for filling in for Thomas. Did a nice job in presenting that. And thanks, Ethan, for this. Honey.
You're welcome, Dave.
Best part. Awesome. It made my day.
I would welcome a motion to close our meeting, to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Of course not. Meeting's adjourned.